Making music is more accessible to anyone than ever, but the sheer number of options, opinions, and the overabundance of, let's say, not the most trustworthy information regarding the topic makes getting started with music production very daunting. Here, I present to you a list of what I would get if I were to start with music production in 2025, using the experience and knowledge I acquired after doing it professionally for more than a decade. So let's begin with the list. I'm gonna divide it in 3 different sections. The first one is gonna be the stuff you truly need to get, the essentials. Then you're gonna get the stuff that would be nice to have, and at last is gonna be, basically speaking, just fashionable items that will make your life better, but you don't necessarily speaking need to get them right away. So let's begin. First, some terminology. Chances are that you have heard this term being thrown around quite often, which is in the box. But what does that mean? Let me explain. Modern music production has been revolutionized by the advent of computers, which have become the central hub of studios. This technological advancement enables sound recording, creation, and manipulation through specialized computer programs, commonly referred as in-the-box tools. The integration of computers into music production offers numerous advantages, including enhanced recallability, cost-effectiveness, and access to previously unimaginable functionalities that emerged merely 2 decades ago. So as you can imagine, a computer is needed to get you started with music production, right? Good news is that you don't need to get a top-of-the-line computer to get you going. For as long as you're rocking a computer that is not older than 10 years, chances are you would be able to run most of the software required to get you started with music production. If you're willing to buy a new computer, I would recommend you to start with a Mac Mini, the brand new one, because it's very powerful and the price point is quite attractive. But if you like Windows, for as long as you get something similar in the same price range, you would be off for the races. The next piece of this puzzle is what is known as an audio interface, which in simple terms is what is going to process the audio that you're working on. Let me give you a little bit more information about them. To begin, it's crucial to understand that any audio signal originating from speakers, a microphone recording vocals, to the output of an analog synthesizer is an electrical signal. An audio interface facilitates the conversion of this signal into a digital format, enabling your computer to interpret it as data, which is known as analog to digital conversion. Conversely, when playing audio from your computer, the interface converts the digital signal back to an analog one. Audio interfaces possess the capability to perform both tasks, and their pricing is influenced by the quality of the conversion and the number of inputs and outputs they offer. For instance, if you intend to record vocals, guitars, and a stereo synthesizer, a 2-channel interface would be an ideal choice. Conversely, if you plan to record a complete drum kit, you might require an interface with 8 inputs or more. Now that you understand these concepts, here are some examples of actual good interfaces that could get the job done. Just be mindful of getting something that accommodates for your needs. Since we're dealing with music, we need to be able to hear it correctly. So, in this case, I will recommend you to get a pair of headphones, and I'm gonna give you some recommendations right away. When it comes to music production, we need to be able to trust what we hear. Therefore, the type of speakers and headphones required for the job are designed with a flat response in mind, which stands for a non-overly hyped sound signature. Here's a list of some solid options that you might consider. I recommend you to get started with headphones rather than buying a speaker set, because otherwise, if you spend the money on the speakers, chances are that your room is not properly treated, so everything that comes out of the speakers will be colored and affected by the acoustics of the room that you're working in. By using headphones, you remove the room from the equation, allowing you to get the closest to the best quality sound you can get at this price range. At this point, we got everything we need in order to get started when it comes to hardware. Now let's talk about software. When it comes to music production, you will need to get something known as a DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. And there are plenty of different options, and each of them have a particular workflow. So let me give you some insights on them. This specialized software enables the manipulation and editing of sound with music production and sound design in mind. It also serves as a platform for hosting audio plugins and virtual instruments, which ranges from digital replicas of highly sought-after analog gear to innovative and unconventional sound processing techniques that are exclusively accessible in the digital domain. By the way, if you happen to like this kind of content, please leave a like and also ring the notification bell, because that's the best way to support this kind of content and keeping it free. Let's continue. If you're using a Mac, Logic Pro would be my top recommendation, as it is a very comprehensive and solid DAW, robust enough to produce and mix an entire album in it. Comes loaded with great sounding built-in plugins and virtual instruments, and it comes bundled in a very competitive price. Exclusive to the Mac though. Another good choice would be Bitwig Studio, one of the newer kits in the block. It is a very forward-thinking and innovative take on DAWs, as it behaves similarly to a Eurorack modular synth, due to the fact that everything can be modulated, including third-party plugins and virtual instruments. It is great for creating music, but personally, I wouldn't mix a track in it. Competitively priced and offers constant updates. It's available on the Mac, Linux, and Windows. As I stated before, modern music production involves the use of something known as virtual instruments. And as the name implies, those are tiny programs that produce sound, similar to what you would do with a guitar or synthesizer. Let me explain. A virtual instrument can be hosted inside of a DAW, and it's capable of producing sounds that ranges from a crude primitive percussion to a full orchestra. They offer many programmable features and are controlled by a communication protocol known as MIDI. Their interface is designed around a keyboard, and as you can imagine, having some experience playing the piano or synth will help a lot, but is not needed. And as you might imagine, there are several options. The one that I recommend you is Native Instruments. I happen to be a huge fan of the brand. I've been rocking their instruments professionally for more than a decade, and I can tell you that they are some of the best sounding instruments there are. Nowadays, most companies offer a subscription-based model that gives you access to everything they have to offer. But in my opinion, in the long run, it's not necessarily the best option, because you won't be using everything they have to offer. And in reality, you're gonna be sticking to the instruments that you like the most and resonate with your style of music the most. So I recommend you to give it a try, find the ones that you like the best, and little by little buy them up until the point on which you have a proper collection of instruments and plugins that resonate with you. At this stage, you're basically covered, but you will find yourself later on in a situation in which you will feel the need of having a much more hands-on experience when it comes to controlling your music, and there are plenty of options solving that very problem. Let me show you some examples. The first limitation you are more likely to face is controlling your instruments with anything other than your mouse. A good solution is getting what is known as a MIDI controller. This comes in many shapes, but the most common one is a keyboard controller. Again, the price is based on the quality of the keyboard and the amount of extra functions, such as encoders and faders, that can be used to control more than just notes on your instrument. I recommend the M32 by Native Instruments, as it offers 8 encoders that can be used, for example, to control the volume of different instruments in a production session, or control different parameters of a virtual instrument. But where it truly shines, it's in its integration with NKA-enabled instruments, since the more important parameters and modifiers of your instrument will be automatically mapped and ready, removing the programming steps and letting creativity flow. So there you have it. What do you think? Music production, it's a huge rabbit hole. Just be mindful of not getting in the trap that is known as gear acquisition syndrome. I don't want you to be afraid of starting off your career as a music producer. In the contrary, just make sure to buy the stuff that will help you to develop the sound that is in your head. If you got any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, because I will be more than happy to answer any of your inquiries. And if you like to support this kind of content, the best way to do it is by listening to our music on Apple Music or Spotify, and also by following us on Instagram and X, because that's the best way for you to get in touch with us in a much more personal basis. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Now, as every single time that I meet you, I gotta remind you that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about. And remember that I will see you when I see you.